Here's something most women will never believe, and it might be the most important thing you ever hear about men. He doesn't notice what you do for him. You can cook his meals, clean his space, show up every single time he needs you, support his dreams at the cost of your own, rearrange your entire life around him, and he will still not see it. He won't treasure it. He won't love you more because of it. I know that lands hard. I know you're thinking, but I'm showing him I care. And you are. But here's the brutal truth. Doing more doesn't make him value you more. It usually makes him value you less. And today I'm going to tell you exactly why, because once you understand this, men will never confuse you again. Because men do notice things. They pay attention, just not to what you think matters. Stay with me. This changes everything. Most women grow up believing the same story. Be good to him. Do things for him. Make his life easier. Be supportive. Be consistent. Show your love through your actions. And eventually he'll see your value. He'll appreciate you. He'll choose you. So that's what they do. They cook. They clean. They remember the little things he forgot he even mentioned. They sacrifice their time, their energy, their peace, quietly, consistently, without being asked. And for a while it seems to work. He seems happy. He seems comfortable. But comfortable is not the same as attracted, and happy is not the same as in love. Why not I see? Here's the first thing you need to understand about men. Men don't notice effort. They notice energy. How you make him feel matters infinitely more than what you actually do. You can do everything for a man, and if the feeling isn't there, neither is his attention. Let me ask you something that might sting. Have you ever seen a woman who does basically nothing for her man, and he's completely obsessed with her? Meanwhile, another woman does everything, and he barely looks at her. That's not random. That's not unfair. That's exactly how male psychology works. Men notice how a woman makes them feel about themselves, not what she does, not how helpful she is, not the effort she puts in. The feeling. Just the feeling. And this is where most women give away all their power. They think if they just do enough, he'll finally see them. But the moment you start doing too much to get noticed, you're actually showing him you're afraid he won't notice you on his own. And fear kills attraction faster than anything else in the world. When you're constantly doing things to prove you matter, what are you really saying? You're saying you don't believe you already do. You're saying you need to earn his attention. You're saying you're worried that without all this doing, he won't care. And men feel that worry even when you never say it out loud. They feel it in the vibe. And once the vibe shifts, so does his attention. Here's what nobody will say to your face. Men don't stop noticing you because you did something wrong. They stop noticing you when you become too easy to have, when you're always there, when you need his validation to feel okay, when you need him to acknowledge your effort, when you're constantly checking if he sees what you're doing. That's when you start to disappear from his view. I've watched it happen in slow motion. A woman who was once confident, magnetic, completely herself, slowly becomes anxious. She starts asking, "Did you notice I did this?" She needs him to acknowledge every little thing. She gets hurt when he doesn't say thank you. She keeps score. She watches the scoreboard more than she watches herself, and quietly, without either of them fully realizing it, she fades. Not because he's cruel, not because he stopped caring, but because the energy changed, and energy is everything. Here's the part that shocks most women. Men notice who you are. Not what you do, not how nice you are, not how available you are, who you. If who you are is strong, what you do barely matters. If who you are feels uncertain, nothing you do fixes it. This is why men notice women who walk away when they're treated badly. women who don't beg for attention, women who don't perform for approval, women who don't fall apart when he pulls back. Those behaviors broadcast high value. And men are always drawn to value. It's hard to accept. We want to believe that being good is enough. That kindness gets noticed. That doing the right things earns the right response. But respect doesn't come from what you give. It comes from how you see yourself. And he will see you exactly the way you see yourself, no more, no less. There's a critical difference between a man who notices you and a man who feels like he owes you, and most women never learn to tell them apart. A man can feel guilty. He can feel like he should appreciate you. He can enjoy what you do and still not truly see you. Because being noticed requires respect. And respect doesn't come from doing things. It comes from having standards. When a man stays because he feels guilty, he's keeping score in his head, weighing what you've done against how unhappy he is. Running the numbers. That's obligation, not attraction. But when a man truly notices you, there's no scoreboard. He's pulled toward you because of who you are, not what you've given him. That pull is the difference between a relationship that drains you and one that feeds you. Here's a truth most people skip over. Men notice women who are going somewhere. When a woman is growing, building something, chasing something, becoming someone, he cannot look away. But when she stops growing, he stops seeing her. Doesn't matter how incredible she was before. Male attention lives in the present. Who you are today is what he sees. Who you were 6 months ago is invisible. This is why stagnation quietly destroys relationships. Not fights, not distance, not mistakes, being stuck. When a woman loses her direction, he loses sight of her slowly, quietly, without either of them knowing exactly when it happened. Think about relationships you've watched fall apart. How many ended not because of a fight, but because she got comfortable? She stopped chasing her own things. She stopped pushing herself. She made him her entire world, and gradually the man who used to be consumed by her started looking straight through her. The attraction didn't die because she did something wrong. It died because she stopped moving. Pay close attention to this part. Men notice how you handle things going wrong, when there's conflict, when there's tension, when emotions are running high and everything feels uncertain. Does she stay grounded or does she unravel? A woman who can handle difficulty without losing herself becomes unforgettable, because staying composed when everything is hard is genuinely rare. Most women panic when they feel themselves becoming invisible to him. They push harder. They get louder. They try to force him to see them by doing more or demanding more. But the woman who can face being ignored with complete dignity, who can look at the situation and say, I matter whether you see me or not, that woman becomes impossible to ignore. Here's something subtle but devastatingly true. Men test women without meaning to. They pull back a little. They get quiet. They create just enough distance, not to leave, but to see who you are when the attention disappears. And how you respond to that moment decides everything. If you chase, you lose. If you complain, you lose. If you panic, you lose. But if you stay solid, a little detached, completely yourself, his attention comes back on its own. Let me be direct about this. Men don't notice you always being there. They don't notice you needing them. They don't notice you constantly trying to please them. They don't notice you giving up your life for them. Those things feel normal to a man, and normal without tension creates comfort. And comfort without desire creates boredom. And boredom is where attention goes to die. This is where genuinely good women lose genuinely good men. They think always being there shows love. They think having nothing outside of him shows commitment. They think saying yes to everything proves they're a good partner. But what it actually shows is no sense of self. And you cannot be drawn to someone with no self, because there's nothing there to be drawn to. Women mix up love with attention, and that confusion costs them everything. Love is a feeling. Attention is rooted in respect. A man can love a woman and still not really see her. But he will find it almost impossible not to notice a woman he deeply respects. Love fluctuates. It rises and falls with mood, with circumstances, with stress and season. But respect is a foundation. It stays. And when respect is there, so is his attention. When respect is gone, nothing else compensates for it. So what do men actually notice? Strength, self-respect. A woman with direction. A woman who knows who she is. A woman who makes them feel something real, not a woman who does things for them. This is why saying nothing sometimes works better than over-explaining. Why walking away gets more attention than chasing. Why staying calm cuts deeper than breaking down. Because composure signals power, and power, real, quiet, unshakable power, always gets noticed. Let me be clear about something important. This isn't about being cold. It's not about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about being whole. A woman who doesn't need constant validation forces a man to reckon with her value. Real strength isn't withdrawing to punish him. It isn't being distant or calculating. Real strength is knowing your worth so deeply and so completely that you don't need anyone to confirm it for you. It's being able to love someone fully without needing them to complete you. It's having the courage to walk away from being ignored, even when walking away is the hardest thing you've ever done. When you stop trying to be noticed and simply become someone worth noticing, everything shifts. He sees more. He respects more. He feels more. And his attention stops being something you have to chase and becomes something that finds you naturally. If you've ever wondered why doing more didn't help, why he still didn't notice, why he pulled away for no reason you could name, now you understand. It was never about effort. It was about who you were being, or more precisely, who you stopped being. Because when a woman stops being herself to get noticed, she becomes invisible, not because men are shallow, but because men are wired, like all humans, to be drawn to realness, to authenticity, to someone who is genuinely fully themselves. The woman who keeps being herself, who handles challenges without crumbling, who keeps growing, who has a life that exists beyond him. That woman stays visible. The woman who abandons herself to be chosen. Even if she's kind, even if she's loyal, even if she does everything right, that woman fades. And she never quite understands why. Male attention isn't about fairness. It's not about who deserves what. It's not about justice or effort or how much you gave. It's about psychology that operates below conscious thought. You can fight it, you can call it unfair, you can wish it were different, or you can understand it. And use that understanding to build something real. The truth is simple. Even when it hurts, men notice strength, not sacrifice. They notice who you are, not what you do. They notice your presence, not how present you are for them. Master this, and being noticed becomes effortless. Ignore it, and you'll spend years wondering why your best was never enough. Most women fall into what I call the doing too much trap. They see a need, they fill it. They see him struggling, they fix it. They see empty space, they fill it with more effort, more care, more giving. And at first he might appreciate it. But appreciation and attention are completely different things. When you do too much in a relationship, you're not just overgiving, you're training him to underdo. You're teaching him that you'll handle it, that you'll pick up the slack, that you'll be the one who cares more. And slowly, quietly, the balance tips. You become the one more invested, more worried, more emotionally consumed, and he becomes the one who's simply there. Here's what most women never realize: men don't value what comes without effort. Not because they're ungrateful, because all humans value what they had to work for, when everything is handed to a man, when every need is met before he voices it, when every problem is solved before he lifts a finger, you remove his ability to invest. And investment is what creates attachment. Here's the insight that changes everything once it really lands. People notice what they invest in, not what invests in them. When a man invests his time, his thought, his energy into winning you, keeping you, making you happy, he becomes attached. He notices you not because of what you did, but because of what he did. His own investment makes you valuable to him. This is why the woman with her own life, who doesn't drop everything, who isn't always available, who has things going on that matter to her, often gets far more attention than the woman who's constantly there. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about actually being worth getting, because you have a real life that doesn't stop for anyone. When you're always available, always putting him first, always making it easy, he never has to think about losing you. He never has to work to keep your attention. He never has to earn your presence. And without that investment, he doesn't notice you. Think about anything you've worked hard for, a skill, a goal, something that cost you something real. Don't you value it more than things that came without effort? That's not a flaw. That's human nature. And men are human too. Here's a truth that might sound old-fashioned, but it's psychological reality. Men are wired to pursue, not because of outdated ideas, because pursuit creates investment, and investment creates attachment, and attachment creates the kind of attention that lasts. When you remove a man's ability to pursue, by doing all the pursuing yourself, you remove his path to becoming attached to you. I see it constantly. A woman meets someone she genuinely likes. She decides to show him by doing everything. She texts first. She plans. She makes her interest perfectly clear. She does all the emotional heavy lifting. And she thinks she's building something. But what she's actually doing is preventing him from building his own attachment, because when he's the one texting first, he's thinking about you. When he's the one making plans, he's investing mental energy in you. When he's doing the emotional work, he's creating his own connection through his own actions. But when you do all of that for him, he's just receiving. And receiving doesn't create attachment. Only investing does. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It doesn't mean being cold. It means matching energy instead of exceeding it. It means letting him come toward you as much as you go toward him. It means giving him space to miss you, to wonder about you, to want you. Men will never say this directly, but I will. Men notice scarcity, not manufactured scarcity, real scarcity. A woman with boundaries is scarce, because not everyone gets access to her. A woman with standards is scarce, because not everyone meets them. A woman with self-respect is scarce, because she won't settle for just anything, and scarcity creates value. Basic, undeniable human psychology. When something is rare, when it can't be easily obtained, when it requires meeting a standard, we value it more every single time. So when you have no limits, when your time is available to anyone at any hour, when you accept behavior that doesn't meet your own standards, you're not showing love, you're showing abundance. And abundance makes you invisible. Romantic attention needs tension. It needs polarity. It needs a reason to keep pursuing the woman with other things going on, real friends, real goals, real interests that have nothing to do with him. She is naturally scarce. Her attention means something when she gives it, because she doesn't give it to everyone. Let me tell you exactly when a man stops noticing you. It's when he realizes he can do anything and you'll still be there. When he can cancel plans and you'll understand. When he can pull back and you'll chase. When he can go quiet and you'll make excuses for him. When he can be completely inconsistent and you'll keep showing up patiently. Most men are not doing this deliberately. Most men genuinely want good relationships, but human nature doesn't care about intentions. When we learn someone will accept anything from us, we stop trying as hard, we stop showing up as fully, we stop investing as deeply, not on purpose. But it happens every time, and here's the cycle that breaks women. The more you accept, the less he notices you. The less he notices you, the harder you try. The harder you try, the less valuable your effort becomes. And it spirals until you're giving everything and receiving nothing and genuinely not understanding how you got here. This is why boundaries aren't cruelty. They're clarity. When you have real limits you actually enforce. You give him a map for how to keep you. You show him what respect looks like in your world, and that clarity makes him notice you more, not less. Because now he knows you're someone worth the effort of showing up for. Here's something about male psychology that explains almost everything. Men are deeply drawn to feminine energy, but they notice and stay for feminine energy that also has a backbone. Pure softness without strength becomes something he feels protective of, but doesn't truly see. It's the combination that creates lasting attention. Feminine energy is warm, it's open, it's fluid and nurturing. Men are drawn to it like nothing else. But feminine energy without boundaries, without self-respect, without the quiet ability to walk away, becomes something taken for granted. Expected, not noticed. The women who keep a man's attention long term are the ones who can be soft and strong at the same time, loving and boundaried, supportive and self-prioritizing when it matters. That combination is genuinely rare, and rare always gets noticed. Most women drift too far one way. All softness and they get walked over, all strength and they push him away. The point that holds everything together is being soft enough that he wants to be near you and strong enough that he knows he could lose you. That tension is what keeps attention alive. Not tricks, not tactics, that real, authentic tension between warmth and worth. This is one of the most painful patterns I see. A man ignores a woman who genuinely loves him, who treats him better than anyone ever has, who would do anything for him, and she's left asking, what did I do wrong? I gave him everything. And that's exactly the problem. She gave him everything. When a man doesn't have to work for your love, when it's freely given regardless of what he does, it loses meaning. Not because he's a bad person, because humans don't treasure what they didn't earn. Think about it. If someone handed you a trophy for doing nothing, would you feel proud of it? Would you display it? Probably not. But if you trained for months, pushed through hard days, competed and earned that trophy, you'd treasure it forever. Same object, completely different meaning. Your love works exactly the same way. When he has to earn it, maintain it, show up for it, it means everything. When it's unconditionally given regardless of his behavior, it becomes background noise, comfortable background noise. But background noise nonetheless. This is why the woman willing to walk away often ends up with more genuine attention than the woman who says she'll never leave. Not because men want you to leave, but because your willingness to walk shows that your love has standards, that it must be earned, that it's valuable enough that you won't hand it to just anyone. Men keep noticing women they haven't fully figured out. Not because confusion is attractive, but because there's always something more to discover. A woman with her own full life, her own thoughts, her own world that exists completely independently of him. She maintains natural mystery. He can't fully predict her because she's not revolving around him. This is why women who give up their entire lives to orbit a man lose his attention. They become too known, too predictable, too available. There's nothing left to pursue. He knows exactly what she'll say, exactly how she'll react, exactly where she'll be. And the human brain gets bored with the completely predictable. Your independence isn't a threat to a quality man. It's one of the most attractive things about you. When you have your own friendships, your own ambitions, your own passions that don't center on him, you stay interesting. You stay someone worth pursuing. You stay someone he could actually lose if he stopped showing up. The women who keep men's attention long term never disappear into the relationship. They stay themselves, just with a partner now, and that separate, alive, independent identity creates natural polarity, natural attraction, natural, sustained attention. Here's why this is harder now than it's ever been. Modern dating culture tells women to pursue, to make the first move, to be available, to be easygoing, to communicate everything directly and immediately, to not have too many standards, because standards are labeled as being picky. And all of that advice does one thing consistently. It teaches women to give away their power. I'm not saying women can't make moves. I'm saying understand the psychological reality underneath the cultural shift. Male psychology has not changed as fast as dating culture has. Men are still wired to value what they pursue, to attach to what they invest in, to notice what has real standards. So when you follow modern advice to do everything, offer everything, accept everything, you're working directly against male psychology. You're removing his need to earn you. And without that, he has no path to truly noticing you. That's not fair. I know it would be simpler if psychology matched culture, but it doesn't. And pretending otherwise just leaves you more confused when he stops seeing you despite everything you gave. So what do you actually do with all of this? First, stop doing so much. Stop being so available. Stop trying to earn your way into being noticed. You are already worthy. You don't need to prove it to anyone. Second, build a life that genuinely matters to you. Goals, friendships, passions, things that light you up, that have absolutely nothing to do with any man. This isn't strategy. This is you becoming a complete person. And complete people are the ones who get noticed. Third, have real boundaries and actually enforce them. Decide what you will and won't accept and mean it. Don't threaten to leave and then stay. Don't set a standard and then watch him cross it without consequence. Your boundaries are only real when they're backed by action. Fourth, let him invest. Let him pursue. Let him be the one to plan, to reach out, to wonder about you. Match his energy. Don't exceed it. Give him room to miss you. That space is not emptiness. It's where his attachment grows. Because here's the final truth. The woman who keeps her sense of self, who has a life worth living, who knows her worth without needing it confirmed, that woman doesn't have to try to be noticed. She simply is. And that is the most magnetic thing in the world.